Review copy provided by Nintendo. WarioWare Gold feels like a best-of collection, the WarioWare equivalent to Mario Party Top 100. For those of you that picked up the series across the Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo DS, it's a nice nostalgia trip down memory lane, and for those of you that have never played the series, it's the perfect introduction to the wacky, quirky, and just bizarre world of Wario. WarioWare Gold is available now on the Nintendo 3DS for $39.99. Yeah, believe it or not, WarioWare Gold does in fact have a story, and most surprising is that it's actually fully voiced. It completely threw me off when I first turned on the game, but more on that in the audio section of this review. As for the story of this game, it's as deep as any other quote-unquote Mario game. Wario basically wants some pizza but doesn't have enough money for it. Whatever shall he do? Luckily, while craving for some pizza, a news report comes across the TV boasting about the sales of a new video game, giving Wario the idea to capitalize on the video game market for some quick cash. With that idea in mind, Wario decides to create a gaming competition with a very steep entrance fee where the winner will win 10 million coins. With all that money on the line, Wario calls his friends to help create their own games for the competition. It's a wacky story that, despite not being impactful and lacking a lot of depth, it still remained humorous, even if it only was 2 hours long. It certainly doesn't deserve any writing praise, but it did make me chuckle a few times. As I stated earlier, WarioWare Gold is a collection of games from previous WarioWare games. Its main game mode is a 2-hour story mode that's composed of 4 leagues. Each of these leagues have a different type of playstyle consisting of Mash, Twist, Touch, and the unlockable Ultimate League. Mash has you play microgames with physical buttons, Twist uses the gyroscope on the 3DS, and Touch of course uses the touchscreen. The final unlockable league called Ultimate mixes up all 3 of them with the addition of blowing into the 3DS microphone. Each of the first 3 main leagues can sort of act as a vignette for previous games in the series. Mash to WarioWare Inc, Twist to WarioWare Twisted on the GBA, and Touch to WarioWare Touched on the DS. As a whole, the story mode is a nice introduction to the game as a package that gets you through all the library of micro games that WarioWare Gold has in store for you. The story mode will take you about 2 hours to complete, and though it is short, it's a great bite-sized package that's still entertaining. Now, the games you'll be playing throughout the story mode and really overall in the game are micro games. Micro games are tiny games that can take on average 4 to 7 seconds to complete. They're presented in this quick marathon-like fashion that force you to not only quickly understand the objective of the game, but actually follow through with it. They're simple though and usually easy to get a grasp of. In a matter of a few seconds, you'll go from "what the hell am I supposed to do" to "oh, I get it now," with about a second or 2 left for you to actually complete the level. Of course, these games don't have a ton of depth to them, but in quick succession in a race to get the best score, they can be a lot of fun. Especially with friends around you, it's very amusing to pass around the 3DS and see who gets the best high score among friends, or just seeing someone's first time reaction to these absurd minigames. In total, there's about 300 micro games, with 50 of them actually being new games that weren't brought back from other titles. The new micro games perfectly fit in with the rest of the series and are sure to be a nice breath of fresh air for people that plan to buy Gold but already have played the previous games in the series. As far as post-game content for the story mode, you'll unlock a challenge mode that cranks up the intensity of these already fast-paced games. For example, there's a split-screen mode that has you quickly switching between the top and bottom screen of the 3DS for 2 separate games. To call it intense is a bit of an understatement. It's crazy and chaotic fun, especially considering that these 2 different games that you switch between can be from different leagues and thus different control schemes. It's basically the Bop It of WarioWare games. Now, playing all these games earn you coins that you can then use on the Gashapon machine. The unlockables range from collectible virtual cards of characters to phone numbers that get you barely worth reading text messages. It's as exciting as it sounds. Now, while these quirky micro games can be a lot of fun, it's no secret that a lot of this is old ground for veteran players. It's with that this package loses a bit of its fun factor and that $40 price tag looks steeper and steeper. Don't get me wrong, the gameplay is still a bunch of chaotic fun, but it certainly gets degraded a bit if you've already played more than half of the content in previous games. WarioWare Gold's visuals are all over the place. One second you'll be presented with a beautifully animated cutscene, the next you'll be picking the nose of an oddly drawn cartoon character. There isn't one general art style, but several that add on to the absurdity of what's going on in the micro games. With that said, I found the art to be well animated, and when it wasn't lovely, at least it was fun to laugh at. I always expect to see insane looking things from the WarioWare micro games, but rarely do I expect to see well animated cutscenes from the WarioWare story mode. It was a surprise for sure, but a welcome one at that.
It's my gold. I love gold. Oh, this thing's heavy. I'm broke. Well, at least I got this gold thing. It'll really spruce up my place, huh? Yeah, another high score. I'm the best.
No way!
Like I stated at the start of this review, one of the most shocking parts of WarioWare Gold was the fully voiced cast of characters in the story mode. I haven't heard this much voice acting in a Mario game since probably Super Mario Sunshine. Having been used to just hearing Wario say his name over and over again for the most part, it left me kinda shook to hear him speak full-on sentences. That's not a bad thing though, the entire cast of characters are well performed. Even Wario, who has lengthy personality beyond just being greedy at this point, feels more like a fleshed out character this time around. As for the music throughout the game, I found the list of tracks to be generally upbeat and funky. In a really weird way, it sort of reminded me of the music from Luigi's Mansion, but much faster and more peppy than spooky. WarioWare Gold is a fantastic collection of both classic and new micro games presented in a lovely package. The 2-hour fully voiced story is something I never expected in a game like this, but it's a welcome addition that I hope becomes a standard for the series and other Mario types of games. Despite the story mode being a bit on the short side, the post-game content out of the challenge mode can be playing in frequent bite-sized rounds. With all that said, while I completely welcome the game to newcomers of the series, it's a tougher recommendation for those that have already picked up the WarioWare games in the past. A lot of the games in this collection do trend on old grounds, and while there were a handful of new levels here, they're certainly not enough for a brand new $40 game. Ultimately, WarioWare Gold is the best entry in the WarioWare series and the perfect introduction for newcomers. Veteran players are sure to get a kick out of the new game as well, but perhaps wait for it to go on sale first if you already have previous entries in the series. If I had to give it a score, I'd give WarioWare Gold an 8.5 out of 10. That does it for my review of WarioWare Gold for the Nintendo 3DS. If you enjoyed the video, then please be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new around here for more reviews just like this every single week, and you can check out my most recent videos on the left side of the screen. Thank you all very much for watching, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.